Let's look at other news now. So, Gold One Mine has fired 401 members of staff. This follows what the company deems to have been illegal sit-ins by miners at the underground gold mine in Springs last year. Workers downed tools over a labour dispute on organising rights at the mine, leading to over 500 workers failing to resurface from an underground shaft. The National Union of Mineworkers claimed it was a hostage situation, while rival the Association of Mineworkers and Construction Union classified it as a voluntary sit-in. SABC economics reporter Katlego Legodi is at the mine and joins us now live. Katlego, a good morning to you. Describe what the situation is like at the mine today.
A very good morning to you, Naledi, and to our viewers at home. Well, we're coming to you live this morning outside Gold One Mine in Springs. This is where operations are continuing this after the firing of those 401 workers that downed tools last year on 2 occasions, just more or less staging a sit-in underground. We are told that the mine moved to really ensure that there are disciplinary processes that followed that demonstration, as the mine already maintained that that was the hostage a situation that was illegal for the workers to embark on. So most of those workers yesterday, as they were resuming operations coming back from the festive season, Naledi, they were served with letters of dismissal. Some of them were served with these particular letters last year already, and the sticking point remaining the fact that these workers wanted the right to determine who they belong to in terms of whether they are members of the NUM or members of AMCU. So those workers, as we speak right now, are out of jobs, and as we speak right now, there are other 140 of them that are facing disciplinary hearings as we speak right now. This is an issue that has really thrusted these particular workers in crisis mode, as you can imagine the economic situation that they find themselves in, and starting the year on a bleak note in this particular manner. I'm going to bring into the conversation the National Union of Mineworkers. This has been the NUM. Sfiso Nkosi is our guest this morning. Will just give us a sense of really what transpired here. Most of those members that were dismissed are your members, meaning that as a union you're bleeding workers here, and we're seeing that these disciplinary processes are still continuing. 140 more are still likely to be dismissed by this particular mine. Welcome to the SABC.
Thank you, sir.
Now let us in on what happened here, because your workers, or those that are members of the NUM belonging to this mine, have been dismissed.
Yeah, indeed. But we can recall back that previously we experienced 2 events of a hostage situation, which honestly therefore resulted that the company then implement its policies, which before we closed for December holidays, there were disciplinary hearings, which now we are experiencing dismissals. That is why we are now, or you are reporting that there are dismissals. It's because of those 2 hostage situations that took place before we closed.
Yeah, just if I can come in there, the workers maintaining that that was a sit-in, that was legal, and they had a right to determine in terms of that clause that existed here that gave the NUM organizing right alone as a union here. Where to in terms of the fact that these members wanted to jump ship to AMCU, and now they find themselves here as members that are workers that don't belong to any union because they are dismissed?
Firstly, let us clarify one thing. There is nothing that calls or that says it's legal to conduct a sit-in underground. It's not legal. Here at Gold One, we experienced a hostage situation where employees were held against their will. I can even make a reference that on those people who were held hostage, we had officials, the shift supervisors, the miners, who are supervising employees, who are not even part of the bargaining unit A and B, which is the majority. So now you cannot say it's a sit-in. Because those supervisors, they do not form part of our bargaining unit. They were held hostage, and we also experienced some of those supervisors and other employees in our bargaining unit. They were assaulted when they tried to come out underground. So you cannot then say that that is a sit-in. A sit-in is when all employees decide voluntary and they sit. that you call a sit-in. But what we have experienced here in 2 occasions, that was a hostage situation.
But then also the workers, because we're hearing that 401 of those workers are some of those that were underground in terms of the dismissal where the charges are concerned. What is your understanding of some of those that are saying that we were not a part of this underground situation, but then we found ourselves forming part of it because you're calling it a hostage situation? They too were also served.
Yeah, indeed. Almost every employee who was underground on both events or sit-ins, they all went under the disciplinary hearing processes. It is therefore the result or the recommendation of the chair whether the employee is guilty or not. But it is not only certain employees, it was all employees who went underground or who were involved in both hostage situations that were served, and they undergo the disciplinary hearing processes.
Yeah. What does this, how does this make you feel as a union? Because you are losing members. These members that 401, 140 that are still on disciplinary processes and hearing right now means that you are losing members as the union. What is your reaction to that? Besides the fact that they are members of AMCU, they are members of the NUM, but they are workers that are part of the labor force.
One of our objectives as NUM is job security. It is very frustrating and painful for us as NUM when we see employees losing their employment just because we had hooligans who decided to hold people hostage underground, who did not even want to wait for processes. Because remember, NUM terminated the closed shop agreement, which was then for saying any union can then come and bargain at Gold One. But we had employees who decided not to follow processes and took almost 2 shifts on a sit-in, which you are reporting now that it's 401. We could even face more than 401 just because of few hooligans who decided not to follow the law. And you can imagine, we are saying 400. How many people are depending on the salary of these 400 employees? It's not only them and their families. They've lost. And even us as a union. But as NUM, we are busy with the process of appeals because we know that there were employees who were held hostage, who were not even were not participating. We are now in a process of filing appeals. We started on December before we close, and even now I just submitted few. I think there are 45 that I've submitted now to HR. So that is one of the initiatives now we are embarking on, just to save the job of these innocent employees.
So were you part of the process in terms of representation from the get-go, or are you only coming in now in terms of the appeal process? Because their expectation would be that if they are members of the NUM, they are workers, and they were held hostage against their will, then you should have been there at the hearings to try by all means to defend them before they could be dismissed. Were you part of that process?
Yes, NUM was part of the disciplinary hearing from the initial stage. And we were also part of the disciplinary hearing on the second event. We represented members. We represented almost 350 employees. And there were those who then voluntarily said, no, we do not want to be represented, which it's also their right. But NUM has been there representing members.
Just before I let you go, what is the status of the closed shop agreement as we speak right now? Is it terminated? These workers that are coming into this particular space right now, are you going to be going through a process of ensuring and verifying who now is a member of the NUM and who then would be following suit to join AMCU, as what led to this demonstration to begin?
A closed shop agreement was terminated last year. And now it's open. Any employee can join a union of his or her choice. And in terms of the verification processes and others, I think that is the company that can honestly respond better there, because if you then request organizational right, you request to the company, not to the union that is bargaining there. But if there is such, then there will be process of verification. Employees will then have to resign from NUM, because currently all members employees on A and B band are still members of NUM until such time an employee then resigns from NUM. Then he will then be offered an opportunity, or he will join a union of his or her choice.
Have operations resumed here? Who's manning the desks? 401 members dismissed, 140 about to be dismissed in terms of the disciplinary process. Who is now working at this particular mine? Because it seems as if almost all of the staff complement has been dismissed.
It is incorrect that it's almost the entire complement of the companies dismissed. Remember, NUM is having a membership number of 1,982 currently. So now if 400 is dismissed currently, it means that Gold One is still having workforce. So that is why you see operation is currently, Gold One is currently operating.
So thank you very much, sir, for your time. It's coming through there from the National Union of Mineworkers as the branch secretary, just confirming indeed that they've lost members to this disciplinary process. I'm going to step out of shot to show you what is happening behind us. Police are also here as well. Private security also here, just trying to man the gate. As you can imagine, that most of these workers are not happy with having been dismissed. We're hearing as well that they've been more or less barred from coming anywhere closer to this facility. Hence, you're not finding them in their numbers like the previous times. Not far from where we are here, Naledi, is where we are hearing that the mine is continuing with the disciplinary process of those 140 that are also going through this particular process. But it's a bad start to the year for the National Union of Mineworkers, also for the workers that have lost their livelihoods through this dismissals by Gold One Mine. Naledi?
A very concerning story that. Thank you so much for bringing it to us. Nonetheless, Katlego Legodi on that one for us.